Namaskar and welcome to day 7 of our Dhanurmaasam spiritual growth journey. So, there were a few people who asked about how to keep the mind calm. And whenever I sit down to do chanting or meditation, my mind gets filled with so many thoughts. So, how do I calm the mind? So, the answer to this is at two levels. First, you have to identify where your thoughts come from, and then you have to find the methods by which you can stop those thoughts or at least reduce them, if not entirely stop. So, where do our thoughts come from? I think you are aware that in our mind there are two parts, one is the conscious mind and one is the subconscious mind. So, what happens is whatever I see every day happening around me, the stimuli from the outside world, what I see, what I hear, all these are responsible for the thoughts running in my conscious mind. Similarly, whatever samskaras are there, whatever impressions from this birth, from past births, all these impressions which are there in my subconscious mind, those are also responsible for so many of my thoughts. If you look at somebody in the outside world, then you get a thought about them, right? That is what is stimulus from the outside world. But suppose you have closed your eyes and you are sitting quietly, not looking at anything, not hearing anything, still you find thoughts coming to your mind. And those are the ones which come from your subconscious mind. So if I want to reduce my number of thoughts, basically to keep the mind calm, you need to cut down the number of thoughts that are running through it, right? Because what happens is when you have too many thoughts running up and down all the time in your mind, then all your mental energy gets wasted and you are more prone to get anxiety, or you are more prone to get angry with people and all this. Of course, anger is a different phenomenon. We will discuss that separately by itself. But for today, how to keep your mind calm, the main thing is to reduce the thoughts. Now, to do that, you have to recognize where the thoughts are coming from and respectively attack at those levels, right? So, if my thoughts are coming from the outside world, right, most of the times we get thoughts from what we see or what we hear. So, what are the things that you can do to reduce those thoughts? To isolate yourself from the world. Now, by saying isolate yourself from the world, I am not saying that you should go away, sit in the forest, sit in the Himalayas, not that way. But in your life itself, cut down all the sources of unnecessary thoughts. If your thoughts are coming by because you watched the news on TV, reduce your TV watching. Or you watch serials on TV, cut down on those. If your thoughts are coming because you are reading things on social media, cut down that. People get thoughts from the newspaper. Then maybe that you're talking a lot, and because you're talking so much, there are so many thoughts running through your mind. Or you're listening to somebody who is talking a lot, then also it will lead to so many thoughts in your mind, right? Sometimes we have so many desires. We want to do shopping, we want to buy this, we want to buy that, so our thoughts are centered around that. So try to cut down that, right? So these are all from the outside world. Wherever our thoughts are coming, try to reduce the amount of time you spend in those things so that your thoughts will automatically reduce. The more important thing is to control what is happening inside our own mind. Now, as I said, the samskaras in our mind which have built up over so many janmas and on in all these years of this janma also, those give rise to strong thoughts. And in order to cut those down, we need to shift our attention. We can't reduce those thoughts directly, but we have to shift our attention to something else which is more powerful. And guess what that may be? Yes, Namasmaran. So the name of God is very powerful. The name of God, the stronger you create the impression or the samskara of Nama in your subconscious mind, the stronger will be your ability to neglect those other thoughts and focus on God. So you have to learn to chant while you are doing all your other activities, so that your focus on the Nama builds up, and that Nama Japa, that center in the subconscious mind, becomes very strong, so that that will be giving you all the thoughts. The thoughts from other centers will start reducing and your thoughts will be focused on Nama. And when you think about God, and God is always most powerful, and God is having all the divine qualities. So we know that whatever we think about, our mind turns in that direction. We start adopting, or we acquire without our knowledge, we acquire those qualities. So it is important that you should chant more and more of your Nama Japa, so that you also acquire those divine qualities which are there in God. So today, the activity that I suggest you do is that pay attention to your thoughts. See what thoughts are coming into your mind. Watch yourself throughout the day. Maybe there are particular times when the thoughts are more. Maybe there are particular times when the thoughts are less. You identify what is it that is stimulating all those thoughts for you. And then you decide on a method which will appropriately help to cut down those thoughts. To to control the thoughts coming from your inner mind, focus on chanting. Now all these days we have been doing chanting at 15 minutes at a particular time. Now I want you to start developing the habit of clubbing the chanting along with some other activity which you are doing. Say you are traveling, say you are having your bath, say you are cooking, say you are doing some other work which does not require your intellectual, your mind to get involved there. So, during all such activities of the day, make it a point to continue to chant. To do that, you have to be mindful. You have to pay attention. It is not something that you can do mechanically. Think about God. Try to visualize that form of God and keep doing all your work. The added benefit of this is that whatever work you are doing also will go smoothly, and you will find that it is happening in a much better way with lesser effort from your side. So I hope that this method that I have explained today will help you in some way to maybe practice and overcome the amount of thoughts in your mind, and over a period of time that will help you to calm down. See, there is this story which is told, no, about Akbar and Birbal, that Akbar drew one line and he asked Birbal that shorten this line without rubbing it off. So what did Birbal do? He drew a bigger line next to that small line. So similarly, in our subconscious mind, we have one line which is already there with all the samskaras of past births and past events, and those are giving out thoughts. So what we need to do is we need to draw a bigger line, and that bigger line that we are going to draw is the name of God, because that is the single most important thing and the single most factor which will be able to take us ahead on our spiritual journey. So you may be wondering why all the time she is telling only Nama, 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 why she is not telling about other shlokas, why she is not telling. The thing to remember is that in spirituality, practice is most important. How much ever I may learn other shlokas, how much ever I may learn about our gods, our stories, about the Puranas, about the Upanishads, whatever I may learn, that is for my intellectual satisfaction. But the most important thing is to put into practice. Only when you adopt it in your daily life, then you will see the benefits of it. Then you will really progress on the spiritual path. So please take this message and try and do as much. First activity is to make a list of all the events which cause thoughts to increase in your mind. The second part of the activity is during all those activities to be aware of where your mind is going and pull it back to the Nama Japa and increase the amount of Nama Japa that you are doing by clubbing it with all other activities in your daily life. I hope that Krishna will help all of us to follow this and to get a good benefit out of it. Namaskar.